Dear students and parents, welcome to another information series by Dabad Academy. In today's video, the title of the video is How Can a Girl Join Sainik School in 2024? आज का जो वीडियो इंफॉर्मेशन प्रेजेंटेशन सेशन है वो उन पेरेंट्स के लिए है, उन बच्चों के लिए है, गर्ल चाइल्ड्स who wish to take admission in all India Sainik schools, whether old or new, in 2025. In today's video, what we are going to do is we'll talk about mainly these key 8 points which you need to understand. As a parent, if you wish to send your child in any of old Sainik school or new Sainik school, what you need to do is you need to focus on these 8 points like eligibility criteria, admission process, reservation, seat allocation, historical seat allocation, then we have fee structure and scholarships, career path. You need to know कि अगर आपका बच्चा क्लास 6 to क्लास 12 सैनिक स्कूल में अपनी एजुकेशन पूरी करता है तो what are the career opportunities for the child after completing his or her in this case education at Sainik schools. And then we have success stories from Dabad Academy. We will tell you about students who had joined our training programs and now they are already studying in Sainik schools, some of the best Sainik schools in the country. And then the 8 pointer is how to prepare if you wish. Then what is the best process to prepare for this particular, I would say, entrance exam. Now moving forward, so point number 1, which is the most critical one, is eligibility criterion. So what is the meaning of eligibility criterion? So eligibility criterion basically means under which particular conditions a child can sit for this exam. So there are 2 entry points in all India Sainik schools. The first one is class 6th and the next one is class 9th. For class 6th, as it is mentioned on the screen, a child should be born between 1st April 2013 to 31 March 2015. Now, a child who is born between this 2-year limit can sit for the exam. Next, जो parents के मन में question आता है, a hugely popular question among the parent is sir, my child is studying in class 4th, but his date of birth lies within this range. Can he sit for this exam? I would say yes, child can sit for this exam. The next question is, sir, my child is already studying in class 6. Can he sit for this exam? So again, I would say yes. For class 6th entrance exam of all India Sainik schools, whether new or old, the class in which child is studying doesn't matter. The only main qualifying parameter is that the date of birth should be within the given range parameter. As far as for class 9th, the girl child should be born between 1st April 2010 to 31 March 2012. The exam will be conducted in the January of 2025. But for class 9th, the child should be class 8 pass at the time of admission. It means if the child is studying in class 8th as well as whether the child is studying in class 9th, in both the cases, both in class 8th and again in 9th, agar bachcha hai and date of birth lies within this range, then they can apply for this exam. Okay? Now moving to the next slide. Now after understanding about eligibility, the next part that you need to know about the admission process is there are basically 4 steps when you try to gain admission in Sainik school. The first step is online application. So every year in September, October, the application forms are made available by the National Testing Agency. National Testing Agency is the conducting body for this exam. That's the step number 1. You can easily apply. There are very nominal charges from rupees 500 to 600 for the online application. Then the second process for this exam is written exam. Usually the written exam is conducted on the first Sunday of every January every year. Then for kids who have successfully cleared, the basic qualification is 33%. A child who scores 33% for class 6th, the total weightage of the exam is 300 marks. For class 9th, it is 400 marks. So any child who scores above 33% is basically qualified. But qualification basically does not guarantee कि आपका जो selection seat allocation वो हो जाएगा. For that, you need to participate in the e-counseling. That's your step number 3. In e-counseling, again, which is conducted by National Testing Agency, what you do is you choose your choice of Sainik schools. You lock your choices 1, 2, 3 and so on. Up until nowadays, for this year, they have given the option to allocate or lock 9 choices for old Sainik schools and 5 choices for new Sainik schools. Okay? And then all the kids who are qualified for e-counseling, they are basically intimated by the school जिसमें उनका selection हुआ है, and then they have to go for medical examination. Since last almost 4 to 5 years, there is no interview. I will repeat again, since last almost 4 to 5 years, there is no interview in all India Sainik schools. In case of Rashtra Military Schools, it is still conducted. Now, once we have understood about what are the various parts involved in the admission process, the next part is to really understand what is the reservation system and the seat allocation system. Now, अगर आपका बेटा है, then the reservation system works in a different manner. Not in entirety per se, but basically because the number of seats is much more. In case of girls, so I would just read what is written on the screen. For girls, it is minimum the number of seats per old Sainik school. जो भी information आपको बताई जा रही है, ये basically ये ध्यान में रखते हुए ये information old Sainik schools के लिए है. ठीक है? So let me start again. For girls, it is minimum 10 seats or 10% of total seats, whichever is higher. ठीक है? Whichever is higher. For example, if there is a particular Sainik school which has offered 120 seats for All India Sainik School Entrance Exam 2024, then 10% of 120 basically means 12 seats. ठीक है? Minimum 10 or 10% of the total number of seats. So the maximum would be 12 seats. So 12 seats per school इसको गर्ल कैडेट्स को ऑफर की जाती हैं. That's what it is. For example, now out of these 12 seats, there will be basically categorization according to home state and other state. जो सीट्स के कैटेगराइजेशन वो होम स्टेट एंड अदर स्टेट में की जाती है. फॉर मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ schools, there were in totality 10 seats. So 5 were given to home state, almost right. 5 were given to home state and the rest 5 were given to the other state candidates. Other state का मतलब क्या होता है? Other state basically means, let us suppose you are a resident of Gujarat. So let us suppose you are a resident of Gujarat and you are applying for Sainik School Balachadi. So if you are applying for Sainik School Balachadi, then your reservation be in the home state category. But if you are applying for other schools, let us suppose you are applying for Sainik School Chittorgarh, in that case आपका जो reservation system है, it will work in this according to other state. It is super easy to understand. Now the next data which is really important to understand is, we have procured this data from the official sources. Number of seats in All India Sainik School Entrance Exam 2024, जिसका बेसिक एडमिशन प्रोसेस 1 अप्रैल 2024 से स्टार्ट हो चुका है बच्चों का. सो इन क्लास 6th, एज यू कैन सी, in totality there were 340 seats which were offered by all old Sainik schools. Out of how many? Out of almost 38,631 applications. In totality, if you ask कि कितनी गर्ल्स थी जिन्होंने ऑल इंडिया सैनिक स्कूल न्यू प्लस ओल्ड के लिए अप्लाई किया था, तो देयर वर 38,631, आउट ऑफ विच 341 would be selected in old Sainik schools. For class 9th, it was historically for the very first time that girl cadets were accepted in the class 9th entrance exam. So for class 9th entry, there was only few Sainik schools which were participating. For class 9th entrance exam, there were only few seats offered by very few Sainik schools. So in totality, there were 42 seats which were offered in old Sainik schools in class 9th. Out of how many applications? Out of 10,239 applications. तो जब आप ये number of applications का डाटा कंपेयर करेंगे टू द एक्चुअल नंबर ऑफ सीट्स, देन यू रियलाइज इट्स अ वेरी कॉम्पिटेटिव प्रोसेस. सो देयर इज प्रॉपर थोरो प्रिपरेशन रिक्वायर्ड. अगर आप अपने बच्चे की प्रिपरेशन करवा रहे हैं एंड यू आर वेरी सीरियस, देन यू नीड टू हैव ए प्रॉपर प्लान कि हाउ टू मिटिगेट द एंटायर सिलेबस सो एज टू इफ यू विश टू एलोकेट a final seat in the e-counseling process. Building on what I just said, as far as the historical seat allocation is concerned, सैनिक स्कूल्स में गर्ल्स एडमिशन बहुत ही रिसेंट फिनोमिना है. इट इज़ नॉट सिंस ऑलमोस्ट 1961 में अगर हम देखते हैं जो ओल्ड सैनिक स्कूल्स हैं उनका इंसेप्शन स्टार्ट हुआ था. तो फॉर द एकेडमिक ईयर 2021-22, इट वाज द हिस्टोरिक ईयर व्हेन फॉर द वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम गर्ल्स वर granted admission. So in totality there were 312 girls cadet who were admitted across all the Sainik schools. There was, before this, in 2020 there was an experiment for 5 Sainik schools. So we are not taking into consideration that particular experiment. For the next year, which is 2022-23, there was a further increase. So 335 girl cadets were allocated seats. Now all this information is from our official sources. So let me read the next line, which is, as of 18 July 2023, 1,299 girl cadets are already studying in old Sainik schools, whereas again 303 girl cadets are studying in the new Sainik schools. Okay, so it's very encouraging. It's not just a matter of giving the equal opportunity. It's not just a matter of giving equal opportunity to girl cadets. It's also राइट स्टेप इन द राइट डायरेक्शन व्हेन वी विश कि जो बच्चे हैं देश में, गर्ल कैडेट्स हैं, उनको भी जो ऑफिसर कार्डर है सर्विसेज में उसमें जाने का मौका मिले। तो जब तक आप एक पाइपलाइन नहीं, एक जनरेशन तैयार नहीं करेंगे बच्चों का, देन देर इज़ ए वेरी स्लिम पॉसिबिलिटी कि उनके अंदर वो करियर बनाने का इंटरेस्ट पैदा हो। ठीक है, तो द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड इन दिस इंफॉर्मेशन सीरीज इज अबाउट फी स्ट्रक्चर एंड स्कॉलरशिप्स। So for all Sainik school it is 1.4 to 1.8 lakh per annum without scholarships. Scholarships अगर आपको allocate होती हैं तो इसमें से अमाउंट रिड्यूस हो जाएगा। Whereas for new Sainik schools it is 1.7 lakh to 2.1 lakh per annum. Almost all components are included. ठीक है, but I would again stress कि this figure is without scholarships. So to all the deserving as well as the needy students, defense scholarship, various scholarships are मेड अवेलेबल बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स एज वेल एज द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट। तो आप जिस सैनिक स्कूल के अप्लाई कर रहे हैं उनकी वेबसाइट पर जाकर आप ये इन्फॉर्मेशन सर्च कर सकते हैं कि उस पर्टिकुलर स्कूल में कुछ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स हैं जो ज़्यादा स्कॉलरशिप इशू करती हैं, कुछ हैं जो इतना नहीं करते बट एक मीनिंगफुल अमाउंट आज अभी कर रही हैं। नाउ so this is a pretty popular question during our meetings with parents. Parents are like, sir, Sainik school education we are considering for our child, but tell us what are the career paths. So I would say कि apart from the traditional career paths which are popular in India, there are new and emerging career paths which are followed by Sainik school cadets. So as you can see on the screen, let me describe. So the prime objective of a Sainik school education, the prime objective of any given cadet who is studying in Sainik school is to join services in the officer cadre, primarily through National Defence Academy entrance exam. So in the very first we have these students go on to join armed forces through in the officer cadre via National Defence Academy, Indian Naval Academy or other military training academies like IMA Dehradun. Now for students who are not selected in the very first career option, then they might wish to opt for civil services. So lot of students go on to join civil services. Then the next popular career option among these students is medicine. So probably you might get into research via PhD programs, and the next one could be engineering via core engineering programs like IIT JEE. जो civilian fields में बच्चे opt in करते हैं, these students also opt in for those careers. And there is a list of miscellaneous, like a lot of students go to merchant navy, then they might get into national law universities, NLUs, police forces, entrepreneurship and other national building vocations. Okay, so the right sort of education, we call these OLQs, officer like quality, जो बच्चों की develop हो जाती हैं, then it is assured that he will do something meaningful with his life. ठीक है, so at Dabad Academy we have had, since 2016 we are running these programs, so we have had a large number of selections since the very first batch, जब से girls का intake start हुआ था, so we have had selections. There are many photos. So while we were preparing this presentation, I thought कि there are few of our students who might get offended कि सर हमारा फोटो नहीं आया. So I'm extremely sorry. जितना स्पेस था हमने उतनी फोटोज लगा दी हैं. So a large number of selections are not documented. So we have selections in Neha, one of our students. She is right now studying in Chittorgarh Sainik School. Then the next one is Achal. She is studying in Junjunu. Then we have Shreyashi Verma. She is right now studying in Sainik School Amethi. And then we have Alia. She is studying in Sainik School Chingchip. And lots more. We have students who are studying, who trained under us. They are studying in RIMC, who are studying in Rashtra schools, KEL, and others also. Okay. So we have given lots of selections. The next question among parents who are considering, पूरी information, I would say पूरा वीडियो देखने के बाद अगर आपके मन में क्वेश्चन आ रहा है कि सर how should I prepare my child, then primarily at Dabad Academy we have 3 options if you wish to prepare with us. The first one is our offline and hostel training programs at Dabad Academy Gurugram. We run a very beautiful, very well managed facility in the heart of Gurugram city. So we usually encourage parents कि आप मिलने के लिए आइए, you come and have a counseling session with us. And या तो बच्चे का सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा, या तो बच्चे का सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा, और we will make sure कि his intelligence is up to mark after going through our training program. That's the first option. The second option is, again we are running an offline training center in nearby to Delhi cantonment in Nangal, Raya. So we have evening classes, so you can connect with us. If you are, अगर आप दिल्ली में रहते हैं तो आप हमारे evening classes के लिए connect कर सकते हैं. And the third option could be, if the first two options are not feasible, then third option would be online classes via Sainik School Cadet app. So this is a very leading app right now. So we conduct classes via Sainik School Cadet app. All the links are provided in the description box. And if you wish to have a direct conversation, I would encourage to please connect with us on the given phone number. So I hope you found the information useful. And besides, if you have more questions, please ask them in the comment box. Thank you so much for your time. We will connect in the next video.